What is schema therapy and why is it so effective? I'm a licensed therapist. Let's dive in. Schema therapy is a therapeutic approach that builds on cognitive behavioral therapy but goes much deeper. It's designed for people who feel stuck in long-standing emotional patterns that traditional therapy hasn't fully resolved. At the center of schema therapy are 18 maladaptive schemas, deeply rooted emotional themes we develop in childhood, especially when core emotional needs weren't met. And these aren't just negative thoughts. A schema acts like a lens. It shapes how you interpret everything: relationships, setbacks, emotions, even praise or success. A core belief might sound like, "I'm not good enough." A schema is bigger than that. It's the emotional framework reinforcing that belief across situations, like a repeating story you can't quite step out of. Let me give you a few examples. These are just some of the 18 schemas. Abandonment. The fear that people you rely on will leave. This can show up as clinginess, anxiety in relationships, or panic when someone pulls away emotionally. Defectiveness. The belief that there's something deeply wrong with you. It's not, "I made a mistake," it's, "I am a mistake." Mistrust. Expecting others to hurt, deceive, or take advantage of you. Even when someone is kind, you might assume that they have some kind of hidden agenda. Emotional deprivation, the belief that your emotional needs will never be met. You might not even expect emotional support because you've learned not to. Unrelenting standards, constantly pushing yourself to meet impossible expectations. You might be successful but never feel fully satisfied. Social isolation, feeling like you don't belong or are fundamentally different from others, even when you're physically included. Entitlement, believing you're special or above the rules. This can develop when limits weren't enforced or when overcompensation masked a deeper schema underneath, like defectiveness or emotional deprivation. Schema therapy says that when these schemas are triggered, people tend to respond in one of three ways: surrender, avoidance, or overcompensation. Let's say someone has a failure schema. They believe they're inherently inadequate. If they surrender, they might stop trying entirely. They'll avoid applying for new jobs or taking on challenges because they assume they'll fail. If they avoid, they might distract themselves by constantly staying busy, never sitting still long enough to feel the shame. And if they overcompensate, they might become perfectionistic, working nonstop, chasing success, but still never feeling like they're good enough. Schema therapy also helps people identify what's called modes, moment-to-moment emotional states that shift depending on what schema gets activated. Some of the most important ones are the vulnerable child mode. When you feel overwhelmed, helpless, or emotionally abandoned, this is the part of you that still carries the pain from early experiences. The angry or impulsive child mode, when emotions take over and you lash out, act impulsively, or demand immediate relief. The punitive parent mode, this is when your inner critic becomes brutal. It shames, judges, and tells you that you're worthless. The demanding parent mode, this part insists you be perfect, productive, and unrelenting, often to avoid feeling defective or vulnerable. And then there's the healthy adult mode. This is the goal. It's the part of you that can think clearly, set limits, validate your pain, and respond in a grounded and compassionate way. Much of the work in schema therapy is about learning to recognize when you're in one of these modes and to shift into healthy adult mode as much as you can, where you can start caring for the parts of yourself that have been hurting for a long time. One of the most powerful tools in schema therapy is called imagery rescripting. You revisit emotionally painful memories from childhood, not to re-experience them, but to change the emotional meaning. An example of this is the adult version of you enters the scene and gives the younger self what they needed but didn't receive. Let's say your schema of abandonment comes from constantly hearing your parents fight. In the rescripting, the adult you might walk into that memory, sit beside your younger self and say, "You didn't deserve this. I'm here now. You're not alone." Another technique in schema therapy is limited reparenting. This is when your therapist, within clear professional boundaries, provides some of the emotional responsiveness and support you may have not gotten growing up. Over time, you begin to internalize that experience. You learn how to validate your own feelings and set boundaries, and be able to calm yourself instead of shutting down or exploding. And it's not about becoming dependent on the therapist, it's about building a new internal model of care. So, who is schema therapy for? It's for anyone with long-standing emotional patterns rooted in early life, but research especially supports it for borderline personality disorder, narcissistic personality disorder, chronic depression, and complex trauma. If you feel like you keep repeating the same emotional story no matter how much insight you gain, schema therapy may be the deeper framework you've been missing. It doesn't just teach you coping strategies, it helps you understand why the same feelings, same conflicts, and same thoughts keep resurfacing, so you can finally start changing the emotional foundation they were built on. Thank you for watching this video. If you like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, share, and subscribe to my channel. Thank you, and see you in the next one.